Greetings everyone, and welcome back to this new game review. As you may notice, this is finally another NES game because I'm reviewing like a lot of Super Nintendo games, but I was like, it's time to take a break. And this time to review an NES game. In this case is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project. This is the third game released for the NES after the original Turtles, which was the first game, and the port of the arcade game, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game port of the NES, which was an arcade from 1987, I believe. I may be wrong. We'll put the exact date of the arcade version to remind you that. Anyways, like I mentioned before, I did reviews Super Street Fighter 16 in the background. If you haven't seen it, go watch it before you watch this video. But I'm not gonna get into that since I reviewed already. So, anyways, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This game, unlike the previous game, the arcade version, the port, and it was like the first game. It was its own exclusive game. But however, the first game was a platformer, and the second game was a beat 'em up. This is also beat 'em up, but more defined, it was like an improvement of the two previous games. Because the first game, don't get me wrong, some people don't like the game. I do enjoy the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but in terms of gameplay design, it was brutally tough. It was really hard game. The second game, the arcade game, was a port of the arcade game. You expect it to beat 'em up. Obviously, it had to sacrifice to make it work, but it was a really good port necessarily. But most people don't even know there's a third game, and this is right here. This is it, which by me it is if not the best TMNT game on the NES, in my opinion, because it's defined and make it better. All the other Turtles to make it a superb experience, to make it a great beat 'em up, because not many NES games that have great. If you ask beat 'em ups, I'm a huge fan of beat 'em ups, or brawlers as most people call it. You have Double Dragon, Battletoads, etc. etc. There's a lot of beat 'em ups, but this is one of my favorites of the NES. I enjoy it more than the others. The premise is simple. You play as the Turtles. Obviously you know the names: Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo. The four Turtles, each one with different attributes, which, for those who love or watch the classic cartoon from the 80s, this is based on that. This game came out right at the beginning of season 5, believe me, so it's based loosely based on the comic. As a result, this is the American version. As a result, it has more the American style drawing, more like resemble to the original comic book. Yep, the Turtles was an original comic book, believe it or not. So it was the more resembles to that. The Japanese version, which by the way is TMNT 2 or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the Manhattan Project, the name changes, and it was released 2 months before the North America. It was released in December of 1991. That one came out in 1992, the American version. Sadly for the people who live in Europe, Australia, sorry, this game was never released in the PAL territory. As a result, for the people who used to have PAL games, such as in Europe, they never received this game, which I feel sorry for them. And I wonder why, because this game is really awesome. They received the first and the second game, but not this one, unfortunately, which is a great experience as a result. Obviously, the game, you play as either the Turtles. You can select each Turtle, whatever you want, even if you lose one of them. And in the original Turtles, when you lose the Turtle, that's it. You lose the Turtle. In the second game, you chose the Turtle, and that's it. You cannot choose different Turtles. Well, this one you can. When you lose a life, and immediately switch to different Turtles. You can select each one by pressing select, and you select different Turtle, which makes a huge plus by me. It makes a huge variety you want to use, because each Turtle has a different special moves by pressing A and V. So, for example, Leonardo has a tornado blade. Donatello made a screw with the bow. Michelangelo has a backflip or back kick. And Donatello uses a power drill, which is the same move on TMNT, the Fight Edition. Yep, the power drill was used in the Fight Edition, which I made the video of the game, of that video game. Great fighting game for the Super Nintendo. And it was also released on the NES, though it's very expensive. So if you haven't seen the TMNT Fighting Edition, I recommend to click on the notification you see right here, right now, if you want to see it. It's a great game, very underrated in my opinion, for the Super Nintendo. Anyways, that's the truth. As for the game, well, it's really amazing. By me, it is the best TMNT game. Obviously, some people compare it with the Super Nintendo version, which the Super Nintendo is based on the arcade game as well, which is Turtles in Time, and the very excellent Genesis version, Hyperstorm, which was like a modified version of the game, and that was a great game on the Genesis. Both amazing in my opinion. I recommend both. Anyways, so it followed the same formula on this one. As a result, you choose the turtle and destroy the foot soldier and defeat each one of the members. Obviously, Bebop, Rocksteady, Red Crank, Shredder, all the enemies are here. All the enemies is right there in this cartridge. So if you're a fan of the original classic cartoon, this is the game for you, my friend. You will have a great blast, great time with this game. And it's just a really enjoyable game. And obviously, if you want to use the power-ups and the special moves, but be aware, don't overuse them too much, because as you use your abilities, you lose health. Yep, just like the successor, Turtles in Time, if you use too much of the ability, you lose more health. So save from energy when the bosses need it. That one really use it, because the bosses are tough as nails. So you have to be very, very careful when you avoid them. And specifically Rocksteady, which I had a lot of tough time to defeat it. I used to be good at this game, but let's be honest, I haven't played this game for quite a while, so I got a little rusty, as you see in the gameplay. I wish I can do longer, but that way in a gameplay video that will show the game entirely. So this is a review. Most people thinking, what about the gameplay? Well, it's there, so only it's a review. So if you want a gameplay, you have to wait and you see the gameplay. It's a lot longer than the review you see right now, which don't worry. Anyways, so the gameplay is very simple. I will show you a clip you see right here, how they play gameplays a little bit, just to show how it looks like here. So the gameplay is simple. You pick the soldiers and get special moves. It's really amazing games. Obviously, it has nowhere near as a combination as the success, which you can grab the enemy and do something, a lot of stuff with it, like the Hyperstorm. Nope. So you do that, and that's it. And you beat each boss, the next level, and that's it. And you get a cutscene. And the plot is very simple. You have to rescue April and Neo, because the Turtles were on vacation on Florida, Miami. But unfortunately, Shredder had other plans. They got the city of Manhattan in New York and capture April, and you have to go back and get them from the Sky Levitated Manhattan Project. That's why they call it Manhattan Project. So you have to beat Shredder and get the city back into his place, which is a very easy plot, like a cartoon to me, like an episode of the TMNT, only in the video game, which is really cool as a result. And it was really successful. And the game did have really good scores, although it didn't have the receipt as the popularity as the other two games, the previous ones, which were much more popular, but as the game, their previous games. This one, as a result, I really wish that this game would release like in some compilations as a result, but unfortunately, as mentioned, no, Konami no longer has the rights to re-release as a result, which is a bummer. I would really see more TMNT at Konami, but since Konami do pachinko games, you know why. So that's very sad about it. As I mentioned before, it's a great game. If you haven't played it, do yourself a favor, pick up this game and do it. Although eBay is eBay. The game used to be cheap, but unfortunately, as I see more, I realize that this game starts to increase in price, which is odd. For example, the older games, the previous one, the first TMNT and the arcade board are a lot cheaper than this one. Which believes this game is the well after of so many TMNT fans and so many NES players or fans. But not as crazy expensive as the Hyperstone or the NES, the SNS version, which is Toros and Time, which are a lot more expensive than this one. These are the well-after ones. These are the ones everyone wants in the collection, which I know why. As a result, and I'll give you the story because after I played the TMNT on the Super Nintendo, a buddy of mine, hey, you want to play the NES? And I was like, go for it. And I did play, and I was really amazed me by the graphics. It was like, and this game came out in 1992. I mentioned before. For that time, the NES really showed his potential, because at that point now the NES started to exploit his new abilities. Because remember, the early games on the NES were simple and easy, but the late 1992 games on the NES were really beautifully made and really complex to demonstrate how to evolve. And that was a time when the NES was really it's almost done. The Super Nintendo came out, the Genesis already there, so by that point on, the 16-bit gen started up. The NES was in its last legs, but not without some gorgeous looking game like this one. As a result, now I'm gonna play this game. Of course, some people are gonna ask why the gameplay is so short. Well, remember, this is a review, but if you want a gameplay, I'll put a poll on Instagram if you want to see a gameplay of this game on YouTube, and I'll upload it for you. So just let me know if you wanted it, I'll go for it. Though the gameplay is a little long, since this game is quite a lengthy game, so be aware on that. So I'll play this game and see what it is. So let's kick shell, my friends. hope you enjoyed this video, and this legacy of this game is really hard, and it still is, and still one of the best, if not the best TMNT games on the NES. Very underrated game, and highly recommended for anyone. So if you see this game up, pick it up. You got a great blast. Obviously there's other better beat 'em ups, but this is one of them I really enjoy. But if you want more titles, you can pick up obviously the 2 beat 'em ups on the 16-bit gen, such as Hyperstone on the Genesis and Turtles in Time on the SNES. Both great games though. So I wish I can review both, but unfortunately I don't own them. Unfortunately, if I will, I'll review both games for sure. Anyway, that's it for this video, and as always, thank you for watching on this video, and we'll see. By the way, if you want to play this game, you have to own the NES version, because there's no freaking re-release. Of course, if you have the NES Classic Edition, you can put this ROM, mod it, and you had a great time. If you don't have the game, that's a good thing. So if you had an NES Classic Edition, all you have to do is find the ROM of this game online, put it in, and that's it. It's pretty simple. I see videos doing that sort of stuff. If you're into it, go for it. And as always, like I mentioned before, if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up might help out a lot. That sort of stuff. And that's it. So anyways, until next time, and Cowabunga!